Thank you, Mark. And thank you for all the help that you have offered us over the course of the campaign last year and this one now. Economic recovery. Well, I can't give you the simple answer in one silver bullet in a minute because it's not that simple. But there are a few essential things that as a businessman and an entrepreneur that I would lend as observations. If Ireland was a business and we were taking a step back and assessing where we've got ourselves and how we got ourselves to this situation, you would do what's called a management review. Your shareholders would do that. Your shareholders would be calling for intervention and for a review of the management. And we have a management team that has utterly failed our country in the area of economic management. How? Well, and who are they? Well, it's the government, but it's not just the government, it's also the opposition. Because the role of opposition is to, as the name suggests, oppose. It is to challenge assumptions, it is to offer alternatives. And at no point over the course of the last several years of economic growth and prosperity in this country did we hear the opposition sounding the alarm or setting off the low fuel light to tell us that something was going wrong. No, they just wanted to carry on with the party and let things continue. And yet, and I suppose it's impolite to toot one's own horn in some respects, but it was, I don't know whether it was 2 or 3 years ago now, I was giving a talk in NUI Galway. And there were questions during that talk, and I pointed out that money supply in this country was out of control. Stamp duty. Stamp duty was the government's way of riding this inflationary bubble in a way that empowered and enriched them. It gave them more money, your money, property buyers' money, to spend on inefficient growth in profligate government that was not catering to your needs at the front line in the health service, for example. So they inflated this HSE at the cost of billions while cutting back frontline services. How was I, a businessman from Abbeynockmoy, able to go to NUI Galway 3 years ago or so and say that this is all going to end in tears, and yet our Minister for Finance today said that they didn't see this coming last summer? We are currently being managed by a bunch of incompetents who resent competence when they see it. That's why, by the way, they resented the no vote to the Lisbon Treaty, because it was a competent answer to a simple enough question, yes or no. So, how do we get out of this hole that these people have put us in? Well, there are going to be a number of steps to it. First of all, we have to recognise the genius of the Irish people. The fact that we have been in much tighter corners than this throughout our history, and we have managed to come out on the other side. Our confidence is taking a knock right now, but we are capable of confidence. We have an educated workforce. We must make sure that that workforce gets even better educated than it already is. I want to see Europe create something called, that we're calling in Libertas, the Renaissance universities. Universities and centres of excellence of training that are capable of not just competing with MIT and Virginia Tech and Harvard and Stanford and Princeton in the United States, but can beat them. that it is here that people will want to come to from all over the world to learn, to get educated, and to be able to chart a new way forward, both economically, technologically, and indeed socially. I would like to see one of those Renaissance universities be established here in Ireland. The only place that real economic growth is going to come from in the future is going to be from what the Germans call the Mittelstand. The Mittelstand means small and medium-sized enterprises, small and medium-sized businesses. It's not going to come from Microsoft. It's not going to come from Total Elfina. It's not going to come from government jobs. It's got to come from a part of the economy that is genuinely productive, that is not dependent on taxpayers' money for its survival and prosperity. Because if the only thing that we are getting paid for is being paid for by taxes, those taxes have to be sourced from one of two places. Either the productive sector, the non-tax productive sector of the economy, or from borrowings. And we have a government today that thinks that that's the way to economic recovery. Irish government debt is priced way out of the market right now. It's very, very expensive, and it is completely out of alignment with, for example, German government debt, even though we have the same currency. The markets are telling us very loudly that we have an incompetent management team running our country. So if we doubted it ourselves, the markets are telling us that loud and clear. We have to change the management team here. We've got to do it. We're even paying more money to borrow euros than other euro member states. It's very serious. And when the time comes when people don't want to buy our government bonds anymore, we're in trouble. Because that could happen all over Europe. Because we're either then completely dependent on to be bailed out by somebody else. So we had Angela Merkel's economic advisor in the last couple of weeks, one of her economic advisors, saying, you will have to sacrifice your, I think he called them sacred taxes, your sacred corporate taxes. These are the people, by the way, that were calling me a liar when I said these people wanted to get rid of our low corporate tax rates during the referendum. We have got to come up with the ideas, the services, the products and the innovation that people all over Europe and all over the world want to buy. And we have got to produce them. We've got to produce better services, better products at a more competitive price than anybody else can. Low tax rates are very, very important for Irish business, for Irish economic recovery. We have to have them. Why? Tax competition is something even enjoyed by the United States of America. So if you take the 50 states of the US, and it's 54 with the states and the territories, including places like Puerto Rico, they have tax competition. They have federal taxes, yes, but they also have state taxes. Some states have 0 levels of tax in certain areas, where other states may have a 40% tax level in the same area. The fact is that you need tax competition to eliminate other distortions or anti-competitive advantages enjoyed by some areas over another. So for